So yeah, you are a legend in the retro gaming space, especially like within the content sphere. Pat the NES Punk obviously is a name that like a lot of people know, and now you're putting out books. You put out the NES one quite a while ago and the SNES one. You got N64 now. Talk a little bit about these books and like what goes into actually putting them together.
It's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, a lot of writing first and foremost. These are full reviews of these games in the library. They're not short descriptions, they're not little blurbs, they're not back of the box little descriptions. The reviewers go through and play these games and review them as if they were reviewed at the time in context of when they came out. That was very important during the process. And besides that, we captured the screenshots for each game. In the N64 book, there's 8 screenshots per game, besides the general information like publisher, developer, year it came out, special features, number of players, the availability for North America, things like that. And this book, to me, is very special because it was 4 years of hard work and labor, and a team of about 20 people helped bring this to life.
And I know that the N64 has a slightly smaller library than the NES or SNES. How was putting this together compared to the other ones?
While the library is about half the size, it's about 400 total games. It was actually more difficult than doing the 2 8-bit consoles, the NES and SNES, because we figured out pretty soon that there was sort of this leap in technology, but also like a leap in terms of expectations of playing 3D games. So there wasn't more of a challenge to, I believe, play through and review these games, especially since on average the N64 games take longer to go through than the SNES and NES games. So for example, even a game like Carmageddon 64, one of the worst games on the platform that I personally reviewed, it took me several hours to play through that, but a game like Ocarina of Time will take you 18, 20, 23 hours to play, and that was the challenge versus like Legend of Zelda. That's a lot less time completing that versus like Ocarina, so that multiplied out. So it actually took longer to review 400 games than 800 NES games. Plus, for the Japanese exclusives, a lot of them have, not all, but a lot have a language barrier, and we had to make sure that the person playing them was either Japanese fluent enough to play it properly, or had a translation guide available to them to go through it properly to give it its proper review.
And how many people actually helped you out with this?
Over 20, including multiple editors, obviously all the writers, and the artist contributors.
That's quite the undertaking. And any plans for the next one?
The next book will be the NES book, which came out in 2016. There's been 3 print runs of that with upgrades and modifications for each. Yeah. But that's been sold out since last December in 2023, and people constantly ask me online in person, where is it? When are you going to redo it? So I'm going to do a new edition with maybe 1 or 2 new features, new articles, new sections. Give it a facelift, because I know a lot more producing these books now than when I started originally in about 2013 working on the original book. It's over 10 years ago. So hopefully, knock on wood, that would be available later next year. But I'm getting older. It's tougher to work on these. Yeah. I don't have the energy I used to in my mid-30s.
Now, if you were just like a casual fan, like who do you think would be the most interested in these books?
I think first and foremost, obviously, if you're a fan of the N64. However, I've had people that bought the first 2 books say, well, I'm a fan of retro games in general, or a fan of even Nintendo in general, to learn more about the history of the console. Because it's not just learning about the games. There are historical articles about the background and development, the technology that went into the N64, and things of that nature. So, in general, yes, N64 fan, sure, Nintendo fan, but just a retro gaming or video game fan in general should get a lot out of the book.
So definitely you can go check that out. We will have a link to it down in the description underneath this video, so go ahead and check it out. Pat, thank you so much for talking to me about this. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure meeting you. Go ahead and check it out. Fantastic.